Okay, this is the first of a series of videos. I'm looking at the final project, and I'm going to kind of go through and try to help you see what you might need to do on these things. So title, course number, your name on the report, that all hopefully makes sense. So I'm here at D, an introduction stating the question of interest, giving background, explaining how knowing the answer to the question could impact a person. Now that I think, I had forgotten that impact a person was in there. If you want to do something that is not exactly about people, but could pertain to people, that's something like that's fine. You have a good scientific question, that's perfectly valid, because in the end, if we're doing the experiment, it all pertains to us. So and I kind of got thinking about that because my example, so we'll start there, an introduction stating the question of interest. Originally, let's say I had the question of a question about dreaming, and kind of what makes us dream, that kind of thing. Well, that's a pretty broad question, and I can't really attack that with a single study. And so I was looking around at data sets and so forth for this question, and I found an interesting data set here. We have species and all sorts of data here, including dreaming, how much of their time, so here's total sleep, and then not dreaming and dreaming, and so it's interesting, to look at that, and so I've kind of changed my question. There's things to about predation, exposure, danger, and so I've changed my question to how does an animal's, in particular a mammal, how does a mammal's predation status, how much is it preyed upon, affect, or how is that related to, I don't really want to say effect because we don't want to go cause and effect, but how is predation related to dreaming? So in other words, high predation number, is that going to be less dreaming? Low predation number, is that going to be more dreaming? And how that might relate to people is certainly predation, I would think, would be very similar to stress and so forth, and and that might relate to a question as to if we're more stressed as people, do we dream more or less? Is that a predictor at all? And so I thought, since I've got this, I found this nice data set, I would focus my question on that among all mammals and look at their predation status and dreaming. So that's the background, how it affects us and my question. Okay. Then at some point I need to state it much more succinctly, and so my more succinct statement is, are the variables of dreaming and predation dependent? Okay, so my null hypothesis would be that they are independent, and my alternate hypothesis is that they are dependent. Okay, so there's an initial question.